Hello everybody, my name is Kristjan, nice to see you here. So what I'm going to talk today about is how to maybe start your own company after you've done this techno-hack project. How to go from the idea to an actual business. So I don't know if any of you have the code compiling at the moment and you have 30 seconds to spare, you can listen to something that I'm saying as well. But first I'm going to talk a little about what my company called Co-Module does. So probably you've all heard of the Tesla Model S, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You also know that Tesla is one of the most connected vehicles in the world. So you know that you can do firmware upgrades over the air and you can check from your smartphone what the vehicle is doing. You can check the temperatures, etc. But this is actually only the tip of the iceberg. You hear me okay? Okay. Yeah. So this is actually just the tip of the iceberg. What Tesla actually does, it collects a lot of data on actually how people use the vehicle. It collects the technical information, so how to build better products, batteries, motors, etc. But also how people use the vehicles, how long they ride, how often they ride, etc. And this helps them to make products that are exactly tailored to their customers, and that keeps you coming back. What we do in Co-Module, we bring the Tesla-graded connectivity technology and bring it to light electric vehicles. So electric bikes, electric scooters, electric motorcycles. So what we do is that it always starts with the vehicle, and into this vehicle we embed our custom-made electronics. So we embed this into the vehicle during the manufacturing process, so we always work together with the manufacturer. This gathers data from the vehicle and then sends it to our cloud server. And inside this server we can gather this data and we can tell the manufacturers how to build better products. You know, technical data of how batteries are holding up, how motors are holding up, how to do better warranty management. Maybe one small revolution we have done is we also allow the manufacturers to directly communicate with their end consumers. For this we have built a software platform on smartphones. And on smartphones, we also try to kill all anxieties people have. So number one is range. We can visually show you on the map how far you can actually go with your electric vehicle. And we take into consideration altitude data as well. We can also track the vehicle so you can get it back once it's stolen. And we allow you to communicate with friends and do all this social blah blah, which is important for the marketing purposes. Everything we do here, we also mirror on the smartwatches. So basically what Co-Module does, it puts the whole connectivity into one product. You can think of this a little bit as of Android. So there's a number of hardware manufacturers, but if they want connectivity, they can use the Co-Module platform. So this is what we do today. We have offices in Tallinn and Berlin. But the main idea of this presentation is to tell you how did we get that far. So it all started with building electric racing cars, which was a student project here in the University of Technology. So the first step of getting somewhere is starting to doing something, and I think this is why this event is a very good start. So in this formula, students design, manufacture and race small racing cars, and the whole team that is now actually in Co-Module used to do this previously. And the cool part was that when you went to the competitions, you always had a lot of people from around the world, so you could compare yourself to others. And I think that's very important in the development of one human being, that you always have to be together with people who are smarter than you are, otherwise you're not getting smarter yourself. So this is how this project looked like. We really started from sketches. This is probably something you did 2 days ago. You draw something on the paper and then you started making computer models, making parts, and then putting it all back together again. I can see from a lot of faces that you haven't slept that much tonight. When we used to build formula cars, we always set the date when the car has to be ready. For example, on this year, I think it was 3rd of April 2012. And when we set that date, we agreed inside the team that as long as we don't go to bed, it's still the same day. So as long as we don't go to bed, we will achieve the goal. So my personal record is 53 hours. So 53 hours straight to get the car running. Then we got the car running. And as I was the captain, I had the privilege to do the first ride. So I was in the car shaking all over my body because the body couldn't generate heat anymore because I had been awake for such a long time. So I did the race. I then went home and then I slept for 23 hours. And then I remember when I woke up, I had no clue whether it's day or night or whether it's Sunday or a Monday. So it takes effort and it takes some work to achieve great goals. So I think that the night you didn't sleep tonight was worth it. And so we built these cars and we started with combustion cars and we got better and better, and eventually we were one of the best teams in the world. And we had competitions all around the world. I've been to Finland, Sweden, UK, Denmark, Germany, Austria, Canada, United States. And when we became one of the best teams in the world, we wanted a new challenge, and then we started building fully electric racing cars. And actually today the team in Tallinn University of Technology builds a 4-wheel fully electric racing car. And then we did the electric racing car and we were quite successful in this as well. And then we had to graduate from university, but we had already fell in love with doing hardware related projects and we didn't want to stop. So already when we were still in the university, we created our own company and we called this Prismattery. And this company tried to do engineering services. So you kind of create your company and you try to find some customers and you say, hey, we think we are smart guys and we can help you to solve some problems. But then you already face some problems yourself. So what did we do? We did different projects. For example, we built some batteries from some buoys, we did some prototype electric vehicles, we built even a concept for the World Show of Expo, etc. But one of the first things we saw was that people have different comfort zones. So when you have 5 friends who are working on something on a weekend or on their free time, it's okay. But if you get into more serious ways of actually starting your company, it always starts that who's actually willing to put time into that, you know, who's ready to put half of their time, who's ready to put full-time effort. And then we saw quite quickly that as some of us were willing to put, you know, full-time effort into it, some of the guys said, no, but I'm already working somewhere, I can't come away because I have a car that I'm leasing and I have a flat that I'm paying for. So this is something you figure out very fast. To overcome this, you can look at different kind of support programs. So when I'm telling our story, I'm also showing what were the organizations that we got support from. So the first one was Prodatron. So everybody I think who's in Estonia and in this business knows about Prodatron. We were actually the first company to get funding from Prodatron when they started. So this is a fund that gives money to build your first hardware prototype. The funny story was that we actually wrote the documents to get money to build the electric racing car, the Formula car, and we actually spent all the money to build the Formula car. But during this process, we also had to think about a business model. And so when we finalized the Formula and won the competition, we thought, well, but actually the business model was quite good, so maybe we should do a company. So it was a little bit the other way around. And then we got to be in the same building today we are, in Mektori. So everybody who has some connection with Tallinn University of Technology, I advise you, if you want to get some rooms to start your idea or start your company, please go and talk with people here. They are very willing to give you free office space. And finally, more traditional ways like Enterprise Estonia, that we actually got this measure they called, I don't know, start measure or something like this, that helped us to buy the first oscilloscopes. So all these things help you actually on your way. And I think today, being in Tallinn University of Technology as a student or as a professor, you can argue me, but I think it's harder not to start your company than to start your company. Because everybody's so keen that you would do something that they want to support you. So, but as I said, we had problems that we didn't know exactly what we want to do, and people didn't know how much time they can put into it. But then we had a good opportunity to go to Barcelona for a Mobile World Congress and support an idea. And this competition was run by Stanford University, so it was a very high-level thing. So we applied for that, And we won the Estonian kind of branch, so we could go to Barcelona to compete in the finals. But the problem was that it was in the Mobile World Congress, so it had to do something with mobile technologies and smartphones and applications. And what we proposed was a mobile application that you can see data from an electric vehicle. So basically what we do today. But we didn't have anybody who knew anything about mobile devices. So we had a Skype conference from the guys from Stanford University, and they asked, but do you actually have a working prototype on the mobile phone? And we said, well, kind of. And then the guy went serious and said, are you kidding, or are you joking, or you're serious? And I said, well, maybe we don't have, but we have still 2 weeks. And then that guy said that, because you're Estonian, I believe that you can do this in 2 weeks. Otherwise, I would disqualify you. I said, thank you. Then I opened my Facebook wall and wrote into my Facebook wall, does anybody know anybody who can do mobile apps? About 3 minutes later, this tall guy, second from the right, wrote to me. I've seen him once on a party. He was a friend of mine, and he said, I do apps. And I asked, do you do them professionally? He said, yes. I said, when could you meet? Now. I said, okay, where? Hellhunt pub. I said, okay. Then we met in Hellhunt, and I described what we need to do. And he said, yes, this can be done. And I said, when could you start? I don't know, today. Can you do it in 2 weeks? Yes. We don't have no money. We don't have any money. I know. But you can come with Barcelona with us. Yeah, that's why I'm here. So we did the app in 2 weeks. And it worked out very well. And we got into super finals. So we got into top 3 in the competition in Barcelona. And we kind of realized that, wow, this idea really has some potential. And that was in February 2014. And then we came back again, and you can see there was a lot of people. There were 6 guys that time in our company. And so we got back, and we had the same problems. You know, some guys went to the school, some guys still had a job, some had a part-time job, and we understood that this is not working. So this is the moment when we decided that we need to go into a startup accelerator. So startup accelerators are programs where for 3 to 5 months, you as a company are accepted into a program. You fly somewhere, and there's 10 companies together, something similar like today, but for a much longer period. They invest money into you, and then they really guide you through this process of how it is to build a company. They have a lot of mentors, and you learn a lot in these 3 months. So we applied for one program in Tallinn, Startup Wise Guys. We applied for a program in Shenzhen, China, called Hackcelerator, and we applied for a Startup Bootcamp program in Berlin. And we got basically accepted to all of them, but the Hackcelerator one, we found out very fast, was focused on end consumer products. So you build a thing, you put it in Kickstarter, and then you cash out. But our product was mainly focused on B2B, business to business, and majority of our clients are in Germany. So that's when we decided to go to Berlin. So we moved to Berlin, and there's a picture of 4 of us in Berlin. And by that time, we had 5 guys left. So one guy had said that, you know, he has stuff to do, so he can't be with the company. And we had 5 guys left, and one of the guys was in university, and he said, hey, I will join you guys in 6 months, because still I have to finish or graduate university. So basically, we had 4 guys left. And one of those said that, no, I don't want to come to Berlin. I kind of like it here in Estonia. So actually, 3 of us only went to Berlin and worked their asses off for 4 months. And I remember my friends asking me, whoa, you're in Berlin, like, isn't this the clubbing capital of the world? I was like, what? You know, we really worked very, very hard. And then we got to the point where we had a demo day. A demo day is how all the accelerator programs end. You know, there's hundreds of people in the hall, and you have to present your program, your product, what you have done for the last 3 months. And our idea was to get a lot of vehicles on stage that are already running our software and hardware. And actually we did that, but none of them were running our hardware. It was all fake, because our hardware engineer was the guy who was left behind, couldn't get these things done. And the problem was because we were working very hard, 3 of us in Berlin, he was in Estonia, and we had very bad communication because, you know, it's still hard to communicate over Skype, and he was living kind of on his own pace. And this is what I definitely wanted to talk about, that when you start as you know, a group of friends, very quickly you can come to points where you have to decide who continues and who doesn't. And so we told to the guy that, hey, you're not doing as much as we are, and he said, yes, I know, sorry, what should we do about it? I thought that he'll say, yes, I know, I will now work harder. But he said, no, I know, what should we do about it? And then it basically just turned out that he didn't want to do this kind of startup-ish life of having this 24-hour stints all the time. You know, he wanted to take it more easy, go dancing, go to eat with her girlfriend. And I mean, this is everybody's free choice. Luckily, we had already done contracts. So what I advise you is that always do a thing called shareholders agreement, even before you start your company. You can Google and find a nice template for that. And because we had a shareholders agreement, we had already buttoned down very nicely what happens if somebody wants to leave. And quite quickly, we agreed on the terms, and he left the company after the startup bootcamp. And actually, there were no hard feelings because he just wanted to leave, and we had already discussed through what are the terms. Otherwise, it might have been very, very tricky. And so Berlin finished. This is the picture of the demo day of Startup Bootcamp. I'm not on the picture because I was the first one to pitch, to present our company, and then I already had to fly to San Francisco because there was also some kind of pitching event. So now, today, we have our offices in Tallinn and in Berlin, and we were able to raise a seed round from HTGF, which is a German large VC company. So actually, yet by today, we haven't proven that somebody needs our technology. There's no end consumer that is using it. We have just raised some money, and I'm just talking you how to get to the point where you raise some money. Not saying at all that I have proven anything or I have achieved anything, because we actually haven't. And this is a kind of a schizophrenic thing about living this kind of startup life. Because if you start a normal company, you go to the market, you see if the clients really need it now, and then you get some money from them, and then you develop from there. But if you go with a startup model, you actually raise money, and then you work on the product and try to push it out as fast as possible. But still, you might be very long in this development phase where actually you're not generating any revenue. And so today we have 8 people, and by the end of this year we have 12 people. This is our Tallinn office. We also have an office in Berlin, but reality is that actually all of the R&D work is done in Tallinn. We used to be in Mektori, but we now moved into Old Town. It's funny that the room rents in Old Town are much lower than in Technopol or Technopolis, so something to keep in mind. It's much nicer, but it's cheaper. And maybe just to conclude, that if you want to achieve some goals, dream about it. That's, I think, like the first most important aspect is to vision a dream, vision somewhere where you want to go, and then work your ass off. But always ask for help. And I think we are a very good example of, we've never gone there alone. You know, first of all, we had help from Productron, then we had help from Mektori, then we had help from the Startup Bootcamp Accelerator, then we've had a lot of mentors, we have had angel investors. So all the time on the way, we have always asked for help and guidance, because it's much easier like that than being all alone. And if you feel that I can be of any help for you, then always feel free to email me. And that's about it. If you have any questions, you can ask, or I'm also going around here and you can ask from me the questions afterwards.
Yeah, really good. So, is there somebody, some questions? Yeah? You can ask also how to be in some startup accelerators. So.
Good evening. I wanted to ask, the bike thing you showed in the beginning, is this still active? Or was this something you started with?
No, this is the company we do today. This is
okay.
what we work on today, yes.
Behind this door I have an electric bicycle that's running a lot of time of the year. Are you interested in testers?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'll come and talk with you.
Okay.
You said that you raised the money and you haven't proved your business model. How you evaluate, how how much money you have to work like this, and are you sure that you will get the next money if you haven't proved your business model when it's a bankruptcy is coming?
I'm not sure in anything, so absolutely not sure that we can raise next round of money. But we have to raise another round of money in June 2016, and we have first agreements to get the product out on February 2016. So hopefully before the next money we actually have traction and we have actually shown that it's working. But yeah, it's a lot of painting beautiful pictures. But I mean, this is the business. I think the problem which we face every day as well, as Estonians and as hardware people, is that we don't want to paint too beautiful pictures. And we're kind of, okay, I'm not going to say that it works before I have tested. I've built 5 prototypes and I've tested 7 times, and then I've put it into this heat chamber and vibration chamber and DMC tests. And I still have this problem because I'm an engineer. But the thing is that this is the business of the VC companies or the startup world. For them, it's normal that they want to invest early in good ideas, and from 10 companies, 8 of them go bankrupt. One of them brings maybe 3 times the money back, and the one has to bring 10 to 20 times money back. So for them, this is the business. They're used to the fact that the product is not ready completely, because if it would be ready, then they would have been already too late. So it's not easy, but that's how it goes.
On a technical level, how do your bicycles communicate with other networks? Sorry, how do your bicycles communicate with external networks and whatnot?
So we have 2 versions. One is Bluetooth only, but this is mainly good only for the end consumer. The other one is with GSM, so we use mobile networks. So on this board we have a GSM and GPS, an accelerometer, and external memory board, chip, Bluetooth, and maybe most importantly, we can take information from a various type of communication protocols. So when you have these OBD devices for cars, they only work on CAN bus, but we work on CAN bus, UART, SPI, I2C, and some modifications of UART that are used in the bicycle world. So basically that's kind of the secret source that we can work on various protocols, and the device is quite small compared to other telematic devices. But still, hardware-wise, it's not something super unique.
So, some more question?
You said that manufacturer can see all the movements of bicycle with your co-model in it. And what about privacy? I think that, for example, me as a customer, I would not like a manufacturer to control all my movements and stuff.
The manufacturers never see who's the individual person, so we aggregate the data. So they see that there's a vehicle that performs like that, but they don't know it's your vehicle. We know it, but they don't know it. Okay. So the thing is that they will never know personalized data. They will also see that, in this area I have some vehicle is performing like that, but they never see individualized data.
Yeah, but you said that they can contact the person.
Yes, but they don't know which vehicle you are connected with. And I mean, the next step from there is that they know it, but you have approved it. So that when you buy the vehicle, you say it's okay that they know which vehicle I have. I mean, we'll never do it like that you don't know and we're tracking everything. Because this would be a very short business model. It never works in Germany.
Okay.
Whenever you go to Germany and you talk about internet, and you say, are there any questions? And there comes 10 hands, and all they want to ask, what about the data security? So Germany is really hardcore about the data security. We've seen companies that have been very frightened that we use Google services, that we use Gmail and Google Calendar. They're like, dude, why? So it's a bit different.
Okay. Some more question? No? Okay, thank you, Kristjan. So, very good. Big applause.